Hey everyone, happy Friday. Will Hankey here. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week and you're looking forward to the weekend. I know I certainly am. I'm just glad that you're jumping on today. And I'm excited to just show you a couple things related to, in this case, WordPress, some different tricks and tips that you can use that will hopefully help you if you have a WordPress site. Also, thank you for being a private Facebook group member. I appreciate that. And of course, we're looking to grow this, so I'd appreciate if you'd tell your friends in the industry about it. And my plan is to start doing Facebook Lives every Friday with a different topic and just kind of share some things. Sometimes maybe a little technical, sometimes not, sometimes related specifically to your website, sometimes just related to marketing in general, sometimes just related to the industry. So excited to have you on, and I'm going to see if I can share my screen. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now. And of course, this is our website, Window Treatment Marketing Pros, which is wtmarketingpros.com. And there's a couple things here that I wanted to show you real quick. The first is the training tab. So we've been putting up a ton of training here since January. We've started doing monthly webinars, and we're putting all of those up on the site for you to watch. Also, our upcoming training is a little different. So we're actually going to be doing website critiques. So we're going to be taking submissions. As you can see, you can submit your site here. We're going to take submissions, and then we're going to pick a couple of those and then go through them and see what they're doing correctly, what they're doing incorrectly when it comes to SEO, when it comes to usability, when it comes to conversion optimization, a lot of those different things. So that's what we're going to be doing next month. That's August 14th. And you can register to watch the carnage here, or you can submit your site and watch as well. But either way, your chances are you're going to learn quite a bit about how to optimize your site, how to get people to do a certain thing, how to get them to sign up, how to get them to raise their hand, that kind of stuff. So excited about that. And the other thing I wanted to show you is if you go to wtmarketingpros.com/struggles, we are building out a huge repository of information on running a business in general. And we're going to be, and you can see all the topics that we've already kind of put in the queue to be written. And then you'll see that a lot of these are starting to link out to different pages, different articles that we've written about things that we've learned in the over 22 years of being business owners. So there's lots of things here. Handling objections to sales, can't seem to hire the right talent. But we're going to be filling these in as time goes on. So very important to check that out. wtmarketingpros.com/struggles. All right. So let's talk a little bit about WordPress. WordPress obviously is a system that runs, I think 30-something% of all websites now. It's the biggest content management system that's out there, and it's a fantastic. It's very easy to optimize. You can make it SEO friendly. Let's see if I can switch this around here. There we go. All right, that looks good there. So WordPress is fantastic, and there are some things that I wanted to show you in particular that you can do to kind of run your site, make it run a little better, optimize it, things like that. So the first one I want to show you is backing up your site. I'm always surprised at how many sites are not being backed up. You think that you have a hosting company that is backing up your site consistently, and they may be backing it up weekly or monthly. But if you're in there making changes daily or weekly and the site gets hacked or it goes down or something, and they say, well, we have a backup from 3 weeks ago, you just lost 3 weeks worth of work, really, which kind of sucks, right? So not great and can be avoided. So one thing that we do is install a plugin called Backup Buddy. And Backup Buddy is free, which is fantastic. There are some paid versions of it, but the free version is great. And it also it'll do backups daily. Backups daily to your site and to your server, which is okay if you've got a decent amount of space. But if you've got a big site, then over time that's a lot of backups that maybe you don't need to keep. One thing I really like about this is that they have remote destinations. So you can actually set up your backups to dump somewhere else. So if you're using Dropbox or Amazon S3 or some cloud service, Microsoft, what is Microsoft's called? It's called, the name is escaping me at the moment. And I usually have it up here. Oh, here it is. OneDrive. That's what it is. So you could dump to some of these cloud systems, and that will help keep the backups off your server, keep your server from slowing down a lot. And it's a great tool to have. So that's called Backup Buddy. There's others out there. This is just the one that we happen to like. And there are some settings available. Their support is fantastic. And in the settings, you can tell it, only keep for so many days, that kind of stuff, so that your server doesn't just, it doesn't keep piling up. But that's one thing that I really like about WordPress is the amount of free plugins that are available out there. All right. Second, handling updates. So if you have a WordPress site, when you get into the back of it, very often you're going to see something like this where it says updates and it's got a number next to it, a little notification bubble. It also shows up down here in comments and down here in plugins. And the updates is basically a list of all of the updates that you need to do. So what you can do is go in here and do select all and click update, in this case plugins. Now the first thing you need to do is make sure you have a good backup, because these plugins are almost always written by third-party companies that you're plugging into your WordPress site. So it could be that they write it wrong, that they miss a semicolon, something happens in their code, and it could break your site or break a portion of your site or just take your site down. So always good to run a backup before doing any of these updates. And then once you've done an update, click the select all update plugins. And in this case, this client is on WP Engine. So did you update? Yeah, I've already done. I'm sorry, a backup. Yes, I've already done a backup. And then you'll see boom, 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 done. So that's finished. I mean, those plugins are done. The other thing that might happen from time to time is your theme might update as well. And that would show up separately on that same screen. So we just did plugins, but you can also do themes as well. And that would show up down below here. So your themes are all up to date. So if it wasn't up to date, there would be a button here, and then I could update it really quickly. So keep your sites up to date. If you don't keep your plugins, and especially the latest version of WordPress up to date, that leaves you vulnerable to being hacked, which is not a fun thing, not a cheap thing to get fixed. So keep those plugins up to date. We recommend at least once a week logging into your site and making sure that it is updated on time. All right, comments. So you see that there's a comment here. And a lot of time, what'll happen is spammers will leave comments on your site, and they're a little tricky. So this particular one, Shayla, left a comment. I'm going to hit the edit button here. Shayla left a comment on this blog, and the blog was about reupholstery. And the comment, thanks for mentioning that a chair typically takes 7 yards of fabric to reupholster. My grandma passed away, blah, blah, blah. So it sounds like a really good comment, right? It sounds like somebody leaving a comment. The trick here is, though, they can put in a link to their site. And in this case, Shayla, her site is bytheyard.com/products. Oh, that's a little interesting that she would be commenting on a blog about reupholstery. So what's happening here is this company, in this case, buytheyard.com, is either Shayla's company or Shayla's not a real person, or they've hired somebody to do link building for them. And in this case, if I approve this blog, if I just click approve and hit update, all of a sudden this company has a link back to their site from yours. So not a bad thing, but you don't always know where you're linking out to. And a lot of times these are just, like I said, they're just spammers that are just looking for sites out there to get links back to. So what I like to do a lot of times is delete the URL. Now there's no link, but the comment still makes sense. It looks legit, and it'll show up at the end of that blog. So delete the URL, click approved, update. The other really cool thing about this is WordPress tracks where all these IPs are coming from. And you see that a lot of these IPs are the same. So that's the same company, just leaving different blog links on this site. But you see there's other IPs as well. So over time, you'll have different comments from different IP addresses. They're not linked out anywhere, and they look a lot better from Google's standpoint. It's free content for your site, and there's no links going out, so it's just your site is building a little bit bigger over time. So don't always just delete the comments. I mean, if they're outright spam, and we can click on the spam thing here and see some of these. I mean, this is obviously spam going to junk. So those you just delete, you don't even mess with. But for the smarter spammers that are out there that leave good comments, we can take advantage of that, delete the URL, and then just go ahead and approve the comment without that link in there. Nice little trick. Okay, a couple different plugins that I wanted to share with you guys today. The first is AMP, and AMP stands for Accelerated Mobile Pages. This is a free plugin. You can just go to plugins, add new, type in AMP, and you'll see it as the first choice. It's from a company called Automatic, which happens to be the company that actually makes WordPress. So free plugin. And then what this does is it, just like it says, it accelerates your pages for mobile devices. So a lot of times it strips out any extra code, strips out any images, and just delivers the content really quickly to your site or to the end user. It's called AMP, and it's free. So there's not a lot to say about it, quite honestly, but definitely have it turned on, especially for your blog posts, maybe for your pages as well. The thing that's interesting here is if you optimize for your pages, it's going to strip most of the images. If your site is a little image heavy, it may end up looking a little weird on mobile devices. So at least do it for your posts, which is your ongoing blog post, things like that. So, all right, the next one is a couple different ways. I always like to add a caching app plugin to my sites. And a caching app, basically, when somebody visits a WordPress site, WordPress is database driven, and it pulls in, it asks the database for the logo, and it asks the database for the phone number, and it asks the database for your header information. It asks your database for your navigation. So just to generate that one page could be 40 or 100 calls to the database. Each of those are taking microseconds, but they add up. And that means your page takes longer to load. So one of the things that you can do is add a caching plugin to your site, which basically takes a snapshot of that page and loads that snapshot up for the end user very quickly. And then if there's changes, you can just tell it there's changes later on. There's two caching plugins that I like, and it depends on your host, which one of these you can use. If your host is running a Lightspeed server, that's L-I-T-E speed, Lightspeed server, then you would see something. I'll go to the back end of WT Marketing Pros here. So we're running the Lightspeed server. So we actually just added on the Lightspeed Cache plugin. And again, it's free, enabled. And then it takes the snapshots. And every time somebody visits a new page on your site, it takes that snapshot. And over time, it builds a repository of your pages that can be loaded up very quickly. And since Google's looking at page speed, we want to make sure that we can deliver our pages as quickly as possible. Now, when you change a page, I'll go back to the home page. When you update a page on your site, one of the things that Lightspeed lets you do is right here, I can purge this page, which means delete it from the Lights page snapshot and build a new snapshot. So that's a fantastic thing that keeps this up to date. The other plugin is called Comet Cache. So if you're not on a Lightspeed related server, then I like Comet Cache, and it's at wordpress.org/plugins/comet-cache. And this is a great one that does the same thing, but on other servers. So Bluehost, GoDaddy, those types of servers might not be running Lightspeed, so you might want to use something like this to keep those pages loading up quickly. So I like both of those. And then the last plugin that I really like, and you might be familiar with this, is Yoast SEO. And it shows up down here as SEO, but it's called Yoast SEO. And this is another free plugin. And what it allows you to do is optimize page titles, meta descriptions, some of the things that Google looks at and gives high value to those pages. So having those in there correctly is very important. So I'll go to a post here and just show you what it looks like. So here's one of the business struggles that we haven't published yet on steps to hiring your first employee. So one thing that you can do with the Yoast plugin is it shows up down here in this little box, and it shows what your what we call snippet is going to look like. And I like to delete this title and put in my actual page title there. And and what I can do is I probably need to expand this out a little bit more. And as you type for window treatment, see how it changed to green, or awning companies. Oh. And I went a little bit too long on there, so I might need to change some things. I might change this to hiring your first. There we go. Now I'm green. I'm good to go. There's my title. And then my meta description is going to be something related to 2 sentences to what this particular blog post is about. And then I would hit save. And then those changes show up in the website. Google sees those changes and gives more value to those. Of course, it's a great place to put keywords, things like that, without going crazy. But anyway, the Yoast SEO plugin is fantastic. I'm actually going to, on next Friday's Facebook Live, I'm going to go into Yoast a little bit more in depth and give you guys some really cool actionable things that you can do inside of this particular plugin, because it is fairly robust. So we'll talk about that on next week's Facebook Live. And those are all the different things I wanted to show you today. I appreciate you jumping on. And I'm interested in if you have any questions about anything that I covered. And I'm also interested in what you would like to see. Let me see if I can't turn this off. Put that down there. There we go. I'm also interested. I'm interested to see if you have any questions about what I covered and what you would like me to cover in future Facebook Lives as well. Put those into the comments. I'll be able to watch it, monitor it, and reply to anything. And I appreciate you jumping on. Hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will talk to you next week. See ya.